Hello and welcome to Beyond OT Australia podcast. I'm Ellie.
And I'm Alicia.
And we will be your host. This podcast is a space where we explore important conversations, share knowledge, and highlight stories that inspire and support our community with occupational therapy and beyond. I'm very excited to welcome our guest, Rikki, the founder and owner of Beyond OT.
Thank you very much for having me.
Rikki, thank you so much for joining us. For those who don't know you yet, tell us a little about yourself.
Well, my name is Rikki, and I'm an occupational therapist. I've been a pediatric occupational therapist for close to 5-6 years. It's been an amazing journey, and I'm always learning on the go, and it's been incredible just to see how my clients are doing pretty well and how they are improving themselves as well. And I come from a very sporty background. I love sports. I love doing, especially in the game of football, of what we call in back home where I was from, originally from Singapore, we call it soccer as well. So I really enjoy doing a lot of soccer. But at the same time, I've gotten into different other types of sports like, basketball, and I enjoy doing, runs as well. And cycling. I've gotten into cycling as well. But yeah, originally born and bred in Singapore, raised from from a very multicultural family. And it was a really wonderful journey that I grew up in, being able to explore various types of race and religion in Singapore. And then I came out here in 2014. I basically started off with doing human movement, which is basically sports science undergrad course. And I really, really loved, doing anything that has to be with sports, because this is something I love doing, and outdoors. I'm a very outdoorsy person. But then somewhere along the line, the past 10 years down the track, I've just gotten into the occupational therapy world, and it's been no looking back, and I've enjoyed every moment of it. Yeah.
So, Rikki, you mentioned growing up that you played a bit of sport and that you were born in Singapore. Was there any sort of standout moment from your childhood or your youth that really drove your passion for occupational therapy?
That's a wonderful question. I think with how I've basically used the game of soccer and utilizing it and incorporating it into the occupational therapy setting has been very beneficial and useful, because what I've been going through, with all the trainings and all of that, and now being an occupational therapist, how I can use that experience that I've got from the game, playing it semi-professionally and then using it in for therapeutic purpose has been a very now that I'm slowly starting to understand how important and it is for our young children's development, and doing certain types of exercises, as with the coordination, with their movements, and all of that area. So in overall aspect, I think what we're looking at, with the gross motor skills, for example, with young children, this is something that not many young children are involved with, with sports in general. And I'm been trying to get them, into the game of soccer, enjoying it, using it, making it much more fun for them to, participate in gross motor activities. But yeah, so with all that knowledge that I've got growing up playing the game of soccer, I've now been able to utilize that skill and that experience and impart that into my occupational therapy activities. And yeah, ever since then, I think we've been seeing really good development. Children are actually enjoying the different type of playing these sports, or soccer in general, when I do certain types of activity, which is fun, and it's a different twist to, apart from just playing the game of soccer between 10 young children running after a ball or so. But there's what I do is I try to incorporate with a different twist to it, and I try to use different types of skills that they can utilize with the game of football. So yeah.
Okay. About occupational therapy, tell us how you found your way to occupational therapy. How did your journey in OT begin?
This is a very interesting question, because how did it all begin was, I've got a very good friend of mine, one of my mates. He was the one who actually introduced me to occupational therapy. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what exactly it did. When the first time I heard about the name itself, I was confused. I'm like, why do you have such a thing, as a career? That's just weird. And so we caught up at a cafe up at North Adelaide, I reckon. And we had a chat, and he was saying to me, like, look, Rikki, these are the types of stuff that you you may want to look at, because he knew that I was already, so back at uni, you're talking maybe 7 or 8 years ago, I reckon, where I basically started a small little sort of like a hobby, where we go around doing some fun soccer activities for young children. And he knew that I started this when I was in my third year at uni. And he saw the interaction I had with these young children, and how I was very engaged with them, and they were very interested in playing this game of soccer with a different twist to it. And then that's where reason why he introduced me to occupational therapy. And he said to me, Rikki, you do really well being an occupational therapist, and I think more specifically you work really well with young children. And I was like, oh man, do I have to go back to uni again and do my degree again? And he says, no, you don't have to. You can go up to uni and take up your master's program and your postgrad program, and see how you go with it. And yeah, so it was very interesting. Like, we had that conversation over coffee and stuff, and I was like, oh gosh, this is going in a different direction, back to uni, which I personally didn't like. Let's be honest, this is my perspective. I don't really enjoy going to uni, but I had to do it for a certain reason. And in order to build a different career, that's where I had to go into that pathway. And he said, go do it. I'll support you with it, and whatever guidance you need, Kurt, and I'll help you out, because he was already in his second year in the postgrad program. And yeah, so he and that's when it all began in 2020, I reckon. So yeah, very early of 2020, we started that off. Yeah, that was during the COVID period as well. So yeah, so I started the postgrad program. Ever since then, there was no looking back. I have literally enjoyed every moment of it. And like I said, I think being a pediatric occupational therapy, you're not just building a career, you're also helping people in a different way. So I really enjoy helping people, and that's where he told me, this is the reason why I wanted you to be in this pathway, because I've seen you help a lot of young children and how you can get them involved with certain type of activities. And I was like, well, you read me well. You knew exactly what I needed to do. And yeah, so I was like, ever since then, I've gone on to be a pediatric OT since 21 in the year 2021. and it's just been an absolutely amazing journey to see all the young children that I've been working with, how they've actually progressed through the years and see how they develop as well. Yeah, so like I said, I think it's a way of giving back to the community as well for me. Not just as an occupational therapy, but just as a regular human being, and seeing how these young children can develop through their early stages of their life. So, yeah, there you go. What a journey.
So you've already sort of touched a bit on this, but I guess how do you see the role of occupational therapy in society today? Like what does OT do in society? What's its role?
I think it's based on how I look at it right now. At the moment, it's going to be it's going to be highly sought after for in the community at the moment, because we are seeing a high spike in a lot of these young children who are facing challenges, through their growing years as children, and I've never seen such a spike in how these young children are growing with these types of issues, and how highly occupational therapy is sought after for them in their early stage of their lives. And it's not going to stop. It's going to be very, very important and vital that, especially being a pediatric occupational therapist, it's going to require a lot of support as well. And whoever out there, whoever is wanting to be an OT in the future, it's a great career, but with a great career comes with a greater responsibility. Not just being a pediatric OT, but also if you're going into the aged care rehab area as well, the community are going to be seeking out for a lots of occupational therapy support, because we are specialized in providing a wide array of services where with the skills that we have acquired through the years at working through it and gaining some workforce experience as well, we are going to be highly sought after. I can say that's all I can say. We're on especially pediatric issues. It's on the rise. It's never going to stop. Not just in Australia, but I'm talking on a global perspective. Let's be honest. It's insane with the type of medication that we are consuming these days, the type of food that we're having these days as well. It's going to affect a child's growth, and we have to be very cautious in what we do as human beings to look after ourselves and our health. So I think occupational therapists, you are going to be highly sought after, not just in Australia, but all around the world as well. So yeah, that's how I feel about it.
Okay. Now tell us a moment when you clearly realize the impact of occupational therapy on someone's life.
Ooh, wow, I'm trying to think of a specific client that I've been working with. All right, let's talk about as one of the young client that I've been working with. We'll call him T. So I've been working with T for close to 4 years, I reckon. Where we started at kindy, and now seeing him go through the from kindy to reception to I think he's year 4 or 5 at the moment, and seeing him developed, and I think I've seen so much of positive impact on him, especially with his handwriting skills, fine motor skills, and communication skills, where a young child's growth in these specific areas is very, very important. And just to see his growth has showed me that it's very important, as a human being, not just as an occupational therapist. As a human being, you got to look after someone else's challenges, and to see him improve and develop all these skills throughout the years with you, that has given me the fulfillment to keep going and keep pressing on, because I think this is what I enjoy doing. Simple as that. To see a child's growth in various type of areas that we work with as well, and to see them develop and progress with it, and being able to achieve it, is a very fulfilling role, I would say. And it's just being able to be just to be a human being, to help these children develop a skill and then see them progress. It's very I'm very proud to be there for them and be part of their life and the journey, and to also see them through the stages of life. It's just wonderful. It's amazing. And just to let you know as well, as an occupational therapist, I don't know whether you know about this, but for a child, there are, I think, if I remember correctly, there are 5 areas that a child has good connection with, and one of the 5 areas is actually an occupational therapist. And this is someone who actually told me once, you've got the parents, grandparents, and the occupational therapist too. So that's why I say, occupational therapists out there, your role, what you do as OTs, is well respected. It's the society may not perceive you as important, but let me tell you this is something that they don't know what we do as OTs. And I feel your role as OTs is highly sought after. It's highly vital for these young children, especially in the pediatric scene. And so just to see how this a young child's life is, how he's actually grown out and achieved certain specific areas just because you've been there as his therapist and help him achieve his goals, is amazing. Not just the parents' support, but you as an outsider, but a therapist that supports him professionally in his various environments, such as the school, the home environment, out in the community. And just to see him do all of that, and being able to be respectful of others, goes to show that your effort has paid off. So yeah, that's the reason why I love doing this job. It's just incredible. Yeah, it's fulfilling. I mean, touch wood, if anything happens tomorrow and if I go with a smile, and knowing that these children are safe and they will grow out of it, and they will become great children and great adults in the future. So yeah.
Yeah, wow, that's incredible story. And I'm sure you have many clients that you've had that experience with over the years. So it's very beautiful to hear. I guess we know with Beyond OT, you're involved with technology and innovation, but how exactly is technology influencing occupational therapy today?
That's a very good question. And so over the course of, say, a year and a half, I've been observing trends and seeing a lot of young children who are now more addicted to screens, and they are also, I would say, knowledgeable in using these gadgets and devices, and being able to navigate through them as well. I've never seen at their age, when I was at their age as well, it was like I didn't know these gadgets, how to navigate through them so easily. But with these young children, with how high tech it can get with these gadgets, and seeing them being able to navigate through it, it's just incredible. And I find it really amusing. Like, if I was actually at their age, it'll be too hard for me to, work out through these gadgets and stuff like that. But, and what my why I've decided to incorporate technology into my role as an occupational therapist is because I don't want to take out and leave out their interest away and just solely focus on what we need to do traditionally. I mean, the world is growing. We need to evolve. We need to grow, and we need to incorporate certain things in our society and in our lives as well. And the use of technology is growing exponentially, so much so that, I mean, young kids, even young toddlers these days, they're looking at screens and they're navigating and using the fingers and stuff like that. So I thought, hey, you know what? Instead of just taking it away from them, let's use it to their advantage. Let's find a way to utilize tech and help these children gain back their life. Because I think, and I believe parents can say this as well. And we're seeing kids on the couches, scrolling through their screens and stuff, flipping through, page after page on these screens. And instead of doing that, I came up with an idea of incorporating virtual reality. And how this came about was last year, what I did was I basically came out to our now therapy studio that we have at the moment, where this VR company was based here. And I brought a client, I would say 2 clients out here, just for, engagement purpose, to observe and see how they do and perform. And I was very impressed, like how they were actually utilizing the virtual reality headsets and seeing them get involved with gross motor activities and seeing them just socially interacting with other people and communicating with them, through the use of these VR headsets. And what just strikes me was like, hey, what if we use these headsets and help them work on their communication skills and cross motor skills? Because we're not seeing much of these young children doing a lot of physical activities, and we want them doing that. So if they don't want to go into the playground, hey, that's fine. You can't really push some of these children who are on the spectrum. But what we can do is we can encourage them to use it in an alternative way. And thus, that's how I came about using virtual reality and incorporating it into as part of my therapy sessions. And yeah, so how I found out that it's actually progressing is some of the children that I've been working with for a very long time, I've never seen them like communicate with me like, more regularly. But there was one I can bring up. There's this one specific client that I was working with, and he and I, he's very, he speaks 1 or 2 words with me when I'm in session with him. But then when mom brought him out here to the therapy studio, I got him into the VR headset, and he's like, on his gadget and stuff. He loves that. So I said, let's get onto a VR headset and let's do a game together. By the end of the 45, an hour session, this is my perspective. At the back of my head, I was like, I've never really communicated or engaged in any play activity with him at all. Wow. Mom said to me, Rikki, I've never seen him communicate with you or play with you like this ever in one sitting, in one session. So when that happened, I was like, this is actually a game changer. Honestly, it's if I can use this to and to a client, to my client's advantage, and help them integrate, with the use of technology to build on their specific set of skills, then I said, hey, this is a no-brainer. I think this is how I can better engage with them. And if a parent can actually see this and feedback that to me and let me know that, Rikki, I've never seen over the past 1 year, he's not really engaged with you as much, And to come out here for one session this year and to do a game with me shows a lot of potential what virtual reality therapy can do. So I'm really, really glad that, to see how we've actually progressed at Beyond OT as a team, and where we're going, and potentially it's going to be, in my case, I believe it's going to be a game changer in South Australia, and potentially it's going to be very beneficial with a lot of children in all parts of Australia as well. So I'm hoping to take this this idea out into other states, and potentially use it with children who are seeking a lot of help, and parents who are wanting their children to get out of the couches and do something more fun and physical. I think virtual reality therapy is the way to go right now. Yeah.
Now, talking about Beyond OT, what motivated you to create Beyond OT?
Great question. So when I started Beyond OT, I started it because a lot of the parents saw a lot of benefits with the type of work that I was doing, and more specifically with the use of sports. So integrating like a game of soccer or basketball or tennis, whatever it may be, into my therapy sessions. So when we saw that with that incorporation of certain types of sports in therapy sessions, parents saw a lot of a good positive difference in the child's growth, especially with their gross motor skills and social interaction skills. So these are the areas where typically a child would be working with and trying to improve on them. And I thought, hey, maybe if I start something in the game of sports where we utilize a lot of sports based movement in my session, that would be something different instead of just using the traditional type of play skills or activities that we do with our children. So I thought, let's create something that instead of doing a simple game of tic-tac-toe, or a simple game of soccer where we go against one another, trying to score a goal, let's take it up to the next level where we can use a ball to work on a memory skills with cones, different colored cones, for example. So bringing a different twist to the game as well, in our sessions. And that's where I thought, hey, maybe guess what? I think I should branch out into starting up Beyond OT and going above and beyond what we do in the traditional environment. So I would say the parents that I have been working with, they were very supportive of coming on board with me and working with me, because they knew that how important it is for sports to be used in a child's development, and to see them grow and develop through it. They knew that I had different types of creative ideas that I come up with to utilize sports in our sessions, and parents were like very, they were very supportive of me doing it. And I said, all right, cool. You know what? I'm just gonna go out there, start Beyond OT, and most, I think, not just because of sports, but because I wanted Beyond OT to create a family oriented approach, where we get a lot of families coming to Beyond OT, and we're not just creating a therapist client relationship. I want them to feel that you're part of this family right now. I want them to feel comfortable with whatever they do. I want families and the children to feel easy when they work with us. It's not very structured. it's very family friendly environment that we work with, and I want to make this more approachable to more families. And more like the the most important thing that I found that was really important was not just the therapy or or the creative side of things that we do in sports, but because I think in today's day and age we're losing a lot of love and kindness. We're losing that so much so that we are selfish, we are greedy, and we're not showing that love and care and concern that a child needs in order to develop their skills. So apart from all of that, you can say you've got the best, activity idea, you've got the best sports, you've got the best creative sporting idea, but without love, care, concern, and importantly kindness, I think you're losing the essence of being an occupational therapist. And that's what we do at BOTA. I want them to keep showing the love and the care and the concern and the kindness, so that when a child sees that and he or she believes in that, and that's how you build the trust with them, and they look at you not just as a therapist, but as more like a friend that I can talk to and engage with. That's all it matters. Once you build that rapport with them and they trust you, everything else comes into play. So like whatever you want to do, they'll engage with you. Whatever you want to plan, they'll still engage with you. This is what I find that is really important, that we're lacking in. And I feel this is where Beyond OT had to go and find ways and avenues to not just deliver creative therapeutic activities, but also, most importantly, show the love, care, concern, and kindness. So there you go. That's why I built, Beyond OT. Yeah.
So you did really touch on it just then about, kindness and being family-centered. But does Beyond OT have a specific mission or a mission statement that they set out, to achieve?
Yeah. So with our mission, is we want to empower young children, and we want to empower their families too, to ensure that they are given the right support and guidance, in helping a child's growth. We want to be there with them. We want to make sure that they are well received and well supported. And it's very I think our mission is to also to reach out to more children and keep showing the love, care, and kindness, I think. So that's my mission. It's not just to the children that we work with, but also to everyone that we can reach out to in the future, on a global scale. I'm not talking about just being in Australia and supporting our young children, but also like if we can reach out to a global scale of other children all over the world and show the love, care, and kindness. And I think that's what we need to do. I think it's more than just providing therapeutic services. It's more than that. It's going above and beyond what we do at Beyond OT. So it's just showing the love and kindness, I would say. So yeah.
Now, talking about VR therapy, for those who have never heard about it, what is VR therapy and how does it work in practice?
Excellent. Well, so virtual reality therapy is basically wearing a headset and immersing a client in a 3D environment to simulate everyday tasks and activities, such as there are a couple of other different types of games that will include such as cooking, or playing a certain specific type of game that we work on, with the use of the upper limb movement to work on the bilateral coordination. If you're looking into working on the fine motor skills as well. There are games that would help immerse them into a 3D environment and do all of these type of activities. Yeah, and basically what we do is we try to break it down in a way where we select the game that is specific to what we are planning to work on and observe, and see how we can best improve and navigate through it. So based on the game that we've chosen for the client, we then either upgrade or downgrade the type of activity that the client is doing through the VR headset, and we go according to the type of games that we're playing, and seeing each type of game there's specific area that we're trying to work on. So if there's a game that involves the therapist and the client, it may be an area where we want to work on their interpersonal skills and communication skills, how we work on, say, for example, their descriptive skills, in imaginative play. We want to improve their speech in these areas, how they see it through the lens of virtual reality headset. So yeah, so it's a lot of very interesting and very interesting concept, I would say, that we use the VR headset with. And with the clients that I've been working with at the moment, with the use of the VR headset, we see, in fact, not just myself, but with parents' feedback, they're seeing a lot of difference, especially with their communication skills, with the way they are being able to describe the 3D experience that they're having through the VR headset. So yeah, so I think it's a great platform, and I think technology is going to be evolving. Whether we like it or not, we just got to go with the flow and how to use it appropriately in our everyday life. So yeah.
Beautiful. So when you have clients come in, how do they usually react when they use the VR system for the first time?
That's a great question. So, all right, there are some children, who come in to basically experience this whole new environment that we have over here, and the first thing they'll be like, "Oh wow, this is insane! What is this space over here?" So they're very interested in it. It's very it's I think the indoor space that we've created, it's very welcoming, and it's very calming and relaxing for them, so much so that as soon as they see with the VR headsets, and they see a space where they're going to be doing some special game, they get really excited with that as well. So they feel like they're immersing themselves into a different, whole new environment. So some of them really do get into it, and they just want to be involved with it, and go straight into it. And that's so good to see, like some of the children, how they are just wanting to get involved with this new type of activity that we are showcasing, and we want them involved in it. However, there are other children who find it really difficult or challenging, I would say, to get them on this headset. Why? Because they don't enjoy being in a very in a headset that just closes them away from the reality of what's going on around them. So as soon as they put on a headset, they get scared, they get afraid of being in it. But to ensure that they'll be fine using it, that's where we use the headsets ourselves as therapists, and show them what we're doing, because as soon as they visualize it, how fun it can be as well, we're using it, they would then build, like I said, with the trust that you've built with the client or the child. When they see you do it, they would also want to engage in it as well. So sometimes it can be really challenging, because they don't like the idea of just putting on a headset and going to a whole new different world. But then as soon as you encourage and you do it slowly with them, and when you put them onto the headset, bam, instantly they just immerse themselves into this environment where they now all they want to do is just have fun, play the game without engaging with you. So I know of a child who came in once over the weekend to work with me in a session. He didn't want to get into a headset, but then I encouraged him and I said, I'm going to go into it and I would love for you to join me as well. And he saw me doing it, and mom was just seated beside him and also encouraging him. And he saw me playing the game through another screen, and he was like, "Whoa, this is something I want to do," you know. So, and he stood up, came up to me, and he was ready for it. And I asked him like, "Are you interested? Do you want to try it out? I'll be here with you. You can hold my hands, and you can go into this VR headset." So put it on him. I was holding onto his hands, making sure that he felt safe, that I was there with him. And then he just started wandering around that, space, playing the game without my instructions or whether needing me, around him as well. So that was, like I said, it's just giving them the reassurance that it's not going to affect them and it's going to help them develop the skills. So yeah, so I think it's how we use it and utilize it to encourage, our clients and our young children to look at it from a different point of view and how we can benefit them as well. So yeah.
Now, tell us, what do you still dream of achieving with virtual reality therapy?
Okay, so with virtual reality therapy, it's something that I want to empower our Beyond OT family with. I want to give them the support and guidance with using it appropriately. And my hope is to see virtual reality used more widely in the community. Why? Because I see there's clinical evidence behind it supporting our community and our people, that it can really help elevate their skills or help them navigate through their issues, internally. So, and especially being in the pediatric sector, it's a purposeful tool that I feel that is going to be widely used with our young children, and I see a lot of benefit with them, with regulating their emotions. So, like, we as therapists, we find ways to help. Let's be honest, emotion regulation is something we work on, and we do that every session with them. So we are always constantly finding ways to help them regulate through their emotions. With the use of VR has its benefits too. You immerse yourself in a game such as going out into the deep. So there's a game called the Deep Blue Sea, where you go in the sea and you're looking at whales, dolphins, stingrays, jellyfish, and you're just using your arms and touching them, and it feels like you're floating in them. And I've used that with as young as I think 7 years old, with my clients, to all the way up till 20. I think it's a 23 or 24-year-old client that I work with over here, and he seems to just engage in it, and he's so quiet. And even the support worker that brings him out here to work with me says that, Rikki, I've never seen him so quiet, and he's usually stemming, or he's stimming as well with with the voice, that he's always consistently using it. But then as soon as I put that on him, not a single word, just using his arms and reaching out to the fishes, to the whale, and just looking in it at a different optical lens. So I see it as a very useful tool to help them with their emotional regulation needs as well. And I would love to see more more of our therapists using it as well with their own set of clients, because from a therapeutic point of view, there's a potential in it, and there's a huge, people are pretty skeptical over here in Australia, because they feel it's gonna affect a child's vision, and having this close range of equipment onto their eyesight, it will affect their eyesight in the future. Yes, to a certain extent. If you overuse it, then yes, it's going to affect it. But if you keep it under consistent use of the VR headset, for example, using it for every 10 to 15 minutes, then I say yes. It's an amazing tool to help when you're using it for a short period of time and then going back to a different type of activity, then I think it's amazing. So there's always has to be a restriction to how much you use it as well. So yeah, I mean, you see children sitting down on the couches at home scrolling through the iPad. I mean, with that distance as well, it's really affecting the eyesight and all of that. And when we're losing them, so I feel with this VR headset, it will not just get them moving, but also help to interact with them more efficiently and effectively. So yeah, so I feel it's gonna be an amazing tool to use for educational purposes as well, and how we can use it to help with their schooling needs, for example. Listening out at school, using it to help them regulate at school as well. Every now and then, if it's needed to, if for them to step out of the classroom, if it's too overwhelming for them with other children being around and all of that, and going onto a headset for 10 to 15 minutes to help them regulate their internal body needs, and then going back into the classroom, I think I see a potential over there. So I thought, hey, why not? Let's just use it more often and help them, improve on their emotional regulation needs. But my dream is to ultimately, I want children to leave our session saying that I can do hard things I've already practiced in VR. And that kind of shift in self-belief is what I dream of achieving at Beyond OT. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah, wow. Moving on to our next part, on our socials, we reached out to the community and sort of asked them what they'd like to hear about on the podcast, what topics, and the sort of major standout topic was iPads and iPad use.
Yep.
So, and you also touched on it a little bit before, but our next question is, what are the potential benefits and risks of iPad use for preschool age children?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So great question. So this thing, I've got a couple of information over here, that was asked from the community as well about iPad use with children. So I've listed out a couple of things over here that could be really important that we can take away from this the use of iPads for children. From an OT perspective, I would say, the use of iPad, it can be excessive and unbalanced when using, the screen time with the iPads and stuff. It reduces, like I said, time spent on play, which is so important for young children. I think play is so important. And this is the reason, like I said earlier, you can see them sitting down on couches at home, just scrolling through, on the iPad, which I think is not developing any motor skills, for example. And like I said, social interaction skills reduced. We see an impact on attention, emotional regulation, and sensory integration with excessive use of this iPad. And a child's routine is being disrupted. Sleep, eating, toileting, transitioning, all being disrupted, and it's also becoming a default coping strategy that parents are now utilizing it in children who are dysregulated, anxious, and they have communication challenges too, which is fair enough. But I think parents can take a next step up and be a little bit more, how should I say, not strict but firm, being firm with what how they communicate with their children and how to use it, more efficiently and effectively. So I think how they put it across to their children is very important, because how we speak, they are going to model it as well. So if we're firm with them, they respect it, they will put it aside and respect your words. So as parents, I think we should all step up to the game of being more firm yet gentle. And I think it's a very with communication, for me it's the most important thing. And I think how we communicate across to our young children is important. But it also can be a predictable calming tool for a lot of children with autism or sensory processing issues. It can also, learn. It can be a way to learn and connect with, with when used mindfully, with an adult supervision being there. So it does work. It helps. And it also can be a useful tool for visual schedules or AAC or any therapeutic apps as well. So yes, there are, the pros and cons of using it. But the next thing that I found out, how we can actually support our iPad kids, that one of our viewers actually put across through our social media interaction. We can have a balanced OT approach for families. And what I've stated over here is a couple of points that we can take note of. We first things first, we got to reframe it, not blame. Reframing it, meaning screens are a tool, it's not the enemy. And we have to understand from a child that is seeking it, why is the child seeking it? Does it help with the child's emotional regulation needs? You got to question that, look at it, observe it, understand it, and feel it. And from then on, you can build upon it. You can ask questions like, is it sensory soothing? Is it avoidance? Is it routine? Is it correct, connection? Why is the child using it for, the iPads at home for? Then this will give you well-informed information on how to use it and utilize it effectively and efficiently as well. And it also informs what alternatives or boundaries are needed for iPads. So this is how I would frame it as the first point. And the second point that I found out as well is adding structure, not just limits. So structures are very, very important. So the use of replacement, not removal. So the choice of words, like I said, I think the choice of words we use is very important as well. So replacement, not removal. So can we say, for example, say to a child, hey, how do you think we can actually replace the iPad, for example? Instead of, hey, I need to take that out from your hands, it's enough. So how we frame it with our sentence is very important. So say, instead of saying no more iPad, which a lot of parents tend to say that, and that's fair enough, we can try adding on, a visual timer with a countdown, or, a transitioning object with a verbal prep, for example. Instead of just taking away devices or passive watching, we can even, trial something about co-viewing and talking about what they're seeing, for example. So you're working with the child about how you're viewing, certain types of videos, sharing the information that you have with the child as well. So I think how you approach it is very important, and how we speak with the choice of words is also highly important as well. And also introducing screen-free zones gradually. Example, no screen at meals, and stick to the predictable routines. So if it's dinner time, for example, ensure that the children understand it's dinner time. I want to engage in communication with you. I want to know about your school and stuff like that. Let's put on your screen for a bit. Talk to mom and dad. That way, that's how you get them engaged with you personally. Number three, it's very important that you create a sensory menu. So a sensory menu of alternatives. So offering activities, that meets the same needs as using the iPad. So say, for example, if they use the iPad for visual input, all right, we can use lava lamps, kinetic sand, bubble tubes. So introduce these types of tools where they look at it and they visualize it and they love that visual input, for emotional regulation purpose. If they're using it for predictability, you can offer visual schedules, social stories, for example. Amazing way. They use it for emotional regulation, which is very, very important, and why they use it these days. You can offer things like fidget tools, a quiet corner with lava lamps, something that it's physically out there that they're looking at as well. and it's a great way of just getting them, regulated in a different manner, I would say. So if you create like a safe space at home at a corner for these young children, I think, hey, you're onto something different, so that helps them with the emotional regulation. And if you're using the iPad for avoiding boredom, you can offer busy boxes, audiobooks, puzzles, and movement breaks. So yeah, this, I would say, creating a sensory menu would be a tool that you can get them engaged in a different alternative way apart from using the iPad. And number 4, involving the child. Use apps together with them, different types of app that you can, so let them choose the alternatives, and make sure that you're choosing words. See, for example, if you see them getting really, angry or frustrated, or you can say, hey, look, I see you, I know you're, a little bit frustrated, you're feeling a little bit wobbly and stuff. Let's choose something where it can help you relax. Can we go on the trampoline, for example, or can we go, for a walk down the park? Would you like to go out to the playground for a bit? So ask them questions that would, help them, get them engaged in an alternative manner at home. And of course, and this helps to build their co-regulation and executive functioning over time, which is, like I said, very, very important in doing this. And last but not least, when to refer or flag it when, this sort of behavior is happening with the iPads. We as therapists, we got to support families to seek OT or developmental input when you see the screen time is causing meltdowns or major family stress. Child refuses all other activities, there are delays in play, communication, or regulation. Screens are replacing all interaction or exploration. If you as a parent can't really navigate through this, seek a specialist, such as an occupational therapist. They can help you navigate through with creative ideas, because then they can find ways to help engage your child in various activities too. And this is where Beyond OT can step in and do such a work where we can help create ideas for families and support them over here as well with our very new therapy studio that we have. I like to call it as a sensory technology integration, not just with our traditional type of tools, but we've also got the use of technology now that it's being involved. So we're going to use it more effectively to help them engage in various activities. So there you go. Yeah. So I hope I answered the question. So yeah, but if you've got any more question, I'm happy to reach out and engage with our viewers if they want to, and share my ideas too. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Rikki, for coming on board today and sharing your wealth of knowledge about all things VR and iPads. It's very much appreciated. Thank you, our listeners and viewers, for tuning into our first podcast. Please like and subscribe, and tune in for our future guests and future topics, all things Beyond OT.
Woohoo!
Thank you.
Thank you very much.